Hello students. So as we had begun with the fifth chapter of your book Flamingo, that is Indigo, we are going to proceed with it. So first we would recollect what we read in the last class. So in the last class we had read that Gandhiji he proceeded to Motihari, the capital of Champaran, and the vast multitude of the people greeted him there. And using a house in Motihari as a headquarter, he continued his investigations against the British landlords. And a report came that a peasant had been ill treated in a nearby village, and Gandhiji then decided to check the matter himself. So, on the way, he was ordered by the police superintendent's messenger to return to the town, as they did not want Gandhiji to inquire into the matter. So, therefore, he was served with an official notice to quit Champaran, and Gandhi signed a receipt of the notice and further wrote that he would disobey the order, and as a result he was summoned to appear in the court the very next day. Then Gandhiji could not sleep the whole night, and he telegraphed Rajendra Prasad to come to Patna with influential friends and send instructions to the ashram. And he also wired a full report to the viceroy. Then the next day, several thousand peasants reached Motihari and started demonstrating around the courthouse. And they had merely heard that a certain Mahatma who wanted to help them as was in trouble with the authorities, and Gandhiji felt that this was the beginning of their liberation from fear of the Britishers, which was the main aim of Gandhiji, to liberate the people of Champaran from fear of the British landlords. And the British officials felt powerless, but Gandhi helped them regulate the whole crowd, and he gave them proof that the British tyranny would no longer be borne, and the government was baffled, it was confused, and the trial was postponed. So the hearing also was postponed, and Gandhiji then protested against the delay, and he confessed that he broke the law, but only because of the voice of his conscience. And the magistrate announced a 2 hour recess, that is a break, and asked Gandhiji to get a bail prepared, and Gandhiji refused. Then the judge didn't deliver the judgment for the days, and Gandhi was allowed to remain at liberty. He was not put into the jail. And then Rajendra Prasad, along with many prominent lawyers, conferred with Gandhi, and then Gandhi asked them then what would they do if he was sent to jail. Then the senior lawyers replied that they were there to help Gandhiji, and if he was arrested, then they would go home. And then hearing this, Gandhiji just reprimanded them or rebuked them about the injustice to the sharecroppers. And then the lawyers consulted among themselves. They thought that when Gandhiji, who is a total stranger, was ready to go to jail for the sake of the peasants in their region, then it would be shameful for them if they left the peasants whom these lawyers claim to serve. Then, afterwards, after the discussion, they told Gandhiji that they were ready to follow him to the jail. And on hearing this, Gandhiji was very happy, and he exclaimed that now the battle of Champaran is won, just because now he got the help or contribution of these lawyers also, which he desperately wanted. So now we'll read further. The next paragraph says, several days later, Gandhi received a written communication from the magistrate informing him that the lieutenant governor of the province had ordered the case to be dropped. Civil disobedience had triumphed. Triumph means won. The first time in modern India, and Gandhi and the lawyers now proceeded to conduct a far flung inquiry into the grievances. Grievances is complaints of the farmers. Then depositions by about 10,000 peasants were written down. Depositions are here, the formal written statement was collected by the peasants, and then a note made on other evidence. Documents were collected. The whole area throbbed means produced a lot of vibrations due to huge crowds. The whole area throbbed with the activity of the investigators and the vehement is showing strong feeling. Vehement protests of the landlords. So in this paragraph, the narrator says that after some days, the magistrate sent a letter to Gandhiji in which it was written that as per the orders of the deputy governor, the case against him had been taken back. And it was for the first time in modern India that a peaceful protest against the government had been won. So it was the victory of Gandhiji's non-violence. Then Gandhi and other lawyers carried on with an in-depth investigation into the justice with the farmers. And statements of about 10,000 peasants were recorded and various documentary proofs were collected, and the whole area was filled with activity. It vibrated with the activity of the investigators and the protesting landlords, and he started protesting against the British landlords. Then further in the next paragraph, it is said that in June, Gandhi was summoned to Sir Edward Gate, the Lieutenant Governor, and before he went, he met leading associates and again laid detailed plans for civil disobedience if he should not return. Then Gandhi had four protracted means very long interviews with the Lieutenant Governor, who as a result appointed an official commission of inquiry into the indigo sharecroppers situation. And the commission consisted of landlords, government officials, and Gandhi as the sole representative of the peasants. So in these lines, let's see to the hard words first. Summoned means called. Then leading means prominent or popular, and associates are the supporters. Protracted, I told you it is long lasting or for a long time, lasting for a very long time. And representative are the spokesperson or the agent. So in these lines, the narrator says that in June, Gandhiji was called up to be present before Deputy Governor, that is Sir Edward Gate, and before meeting him, he met his chief supporters and made plans for civil disobedience in case he did not return from there and is put into jail. Then Gandhiji had 4 long interviews with the Deputy Commissioner, which led to the formation of a commission. A new commission was set up that inquired into the indigo sharecroppers situation, and the commission this commission consisted of the landlords, government officials, and Gandhi, who was the only spokesperson for the peasants. Then further, the next paragraph says Gandhi remained in Champaran for an initial uninterrupted period of 7 months, and then again for several shorter visits. The visit undertaken casually on the entreaty of an unlettered means not educated or illiterate, you can say that. So here several months and then again for several shorter visits. So the visit undertaken casually on the entreaty of an unlettered peasant in the expectation that it would last a few days occupied almost a year of Gandhi's life. The official inquiry assembled a crushing mountain of evidence against the big planters, and when they saw this, they agreed in principle to make refunds to the peasants. But how much must we pay? They asked Gandhi. So in these lines, the hard words like initial means at a start, the very beginning, uninterrupted means continuous, then entreaty is an earnest or humble request, and assembled means gathered. So in these lines, the narrator says that Gandhiji, he remained in Champaran for several months, and he also made several shorter visits later. And this visit on the request of the peasants was presumed to last a few days, but it took almost a year. The official inquiry didn't favor the planters, hence they agreed to pay back to the peasants, but they questioned Gandhi regarding the amount to be repaid, that how much amount they will have to pay back. and they were worried that they will have to repay the whole amount. Then further we'll see what happens, how much amount the British landlords had to pay. So this was the victory of the Indians or Gandhiji. This was the very first movement which very peacefully uh, it gained, you can say it, Gandhiji's actions of non-violence was triumphed. He won over it, and he was able to get justice for the sharecroppers, Champaran sharecroppers. Then further, so it is said that further the next paragraph says that they thought he would demand repayment in full of the money which had illegally and deceitfully extorted. That means deceitfully means cheating. Deceit is cheating. So dishonestly. Deceitfully is dishonestly. So extorted from the sharecroppers. Extorted means took forcibly. He asked only 50%, and there he seemed adamant, writes Revered J. Z. Hodge, a British missionary in Champaran who observed the entire episode at close range. Thinking probably that he would not give way, the representative of the planters offered to refund to the extent of 25%, and to his amazement, Mr. Gandhi took him at his words, thus breaking the deadlock. This supplement was adopted unanimously by the Commission, and Gandhi explained that the amount of the refund was less important than the fact that the landlords had been obliged to surrender part of the money and with it part of their prestige. Therefore, as far as the peasants were concerned, the planters had behaved as lords above the law. Now the peasant saw that he had rights and defenders, and he learned courage. So first, in these two paragraphs, let's see to the hard words. Deceitfully, as we had already discussed, it means dishonestly, and extorted, took forcibly. Adamant is firm. Amazement is surprise. Obliged means required or made legally bound to do something. Deadlock is a situation in which no progress can be made. Unanimously means without opposition. And prestige is honor or esteem. Defenders are the protectors. So in these lines, the narrator says that the moneylenders had thought that Gandhiji would ask for the full repayment of the money which they had taken from the peasants forcefully, but to their surprise he asked for only 50%, and his decision was firm. Then a missionary, Reverend J. Z. Hodge, who had a close watch on the matter, reported this. The planters offered to pay only 25% as they thought it would be rejected by Gandhiji. But Gandhiji immediately accepted it, and Gandhiji said that the payment of the amount was not important, but by giving money, the planters had bowed down to the peasants and had given away their honor too. That means it was the most important thing that they were made to look down upon. First, they were exploiting the farmers or the sharecroppers, but now they had to bow down. They had to bow down before the peasants, and this was the first victory of the peasants or Gandhiji. The planters who earlier behaved as if they were above the law now had to abide by it. They had to agree to it. And this made the peasants realize that their rights, and they realize about their rights, and that gave them courage to fight for them. And further in the next paragraph, it is said that events justified Gandhiji's position. Within a few years, the British planters abandoned their estates, which reverted to the peasants, and indigo sharecropping disappeared. Gandhi never contented himself, contented means satisfied himself with large political or economic solutions. He saw the cultural and social backwardness in Champaran villages and wanted to do something about it immediately, and he appealed for teachers Mahadev Desai and Nirhari Parekh, two young men who had just joined Gandhiji as disciples, and their wives volunteered for the work. Several more came from Bombay, Pune, and other distant parts of the land. Devdas, Gandhiji's youngest son, arrived from the ashram, and so did Mrs. Gandhi. Primary schools were opened in 6 villages, and Kasturbai taught the ashram rules on personal cleanliness and community. So, first, let's see to the hard words now. Justified means marked by a good or legitimate reason. Abandoned is deserted or to leave alone. Estates means property. Reverted means returned. Contented means satisfied or willing to accept something. So, in these lines, the narrator says that all the events had proven Gandhiji's position, that how strong he was, and the British planters had to leave their property within the next few years, and these properties were returned back to the poor peasants of Champaran. And indigo sharecropping soon came to an end, and Gandhiji was not satisfied by achieving political or economic solutions. He sought to remove the cultural and social backwardness of Champaran, because the people of Champaran were very, very poor, and they were unaware of hygiene also. They were not at all educated. So Gandhiji wanted to do something to remove the backwardness in the villages of Champaran. And so he requested teachers such as Mahadev Desai and Nirhari Parekh and their wives to teach the villagers. And both of them were followers or the students of Gandhiji. And many other volunteers came from Bombay and Pune to join them. And Mrs. Gandhi and their youngest son, Devdas, also arrived from the ashram for their help. And then in Champaran, the primary schools were opened in 6 villages where Kasturbai used to teach the ashram rules on cleanliness and community sanitation, that is the hygiene. Now, the next paragraph says that health conditions were miserable. Gandhi got a doctor to volunteer his services for 6 months. 3 medicines were available, that is castor oil, quinine, and sulfur ointment. Anybody who showed a coated tongue was given a dose of castor oil. Anybody with malaria fever received quinine plus castor oil. Anybody with skin eruptions received ointment plus castor oil. And Gandhi noticed the filthy is very dirty state of women's clothes. He asked Kasturbai to talk to them about it. One woman took Kasturbai into her hut and said, "Look, there is no box or cupboard here for clothes. The sari I am wearing is the only one I have." So this was the condition of the peasants, poor peasants of Champaran. So the word miserable in these lines means unhappy or sad. That is very poor. Volunteer is a person who offers his service free of cost. And eruptions are here. The eruptions means a spot, a rash, or other mark appearing suddenly on the skin. So in these lines, the narrator says that the health conditions of the people of Champaran were very poor, and so Gandhiji got a doctor who offered his services free of cost for 6 months in this place. And there were only 3 medicines that he used to give to the people or any kind of patient, that is castor oil, quinine, and sulfur ointment, that was available in the small dispensary. And a patient with a coated tongue was given castor oil. Malaria patient was served a dose of quinine, and a patient with a skin disorder was given ointment along with castor oil. And the women of the area used to wear dirty clothes, and when Gandhiji tried to know the reason through his wife, he was told that those were the only saris each of the women had. That means they were so poor they were unable to buy another pair of clothes for them. So now further, the next paragraph says that during his long stay in Champaran, Gandhi kept a long distance watch on the ashram. He sent regular instructions by mail and asked for financial accounts. Once he wrote to residents that it was time to fill the old latrine trenches and dig new ones, otherwise, the old ones would begin to smell bad. And the Champaran episode was a turning point in Gandhiji's life. What I did, he explained, was a very ordinary thing. I declared that the British could not order me about in my own country. So, in these lines, the narrator says that when Gandhiji was in Champaran, he kept a long distance vigil or watch over his ashram also, and he used to send letters of orders regarding the financial matters. And once he wrote to the locals that it was time to dig new latrines as the old ones that that were dug earlier had started giving foul smell, very bad smell. And the Champaran incident changed Gandhiji's whole life. And he said that he had done a regular thing. He had put his point across that the Britishers could not order him in his own country. So, and then further in the next paragraph, the narrator says, but Champaran did not begin as an act of defiance. It grew out of an attempt to alleviate the distress of large number of poor peasants. So in this line, the word alleviate means uplift. Further, he says this was the typical Gandhi pattern. His politics were intertwined with the practical day-to-day problems of the millions. His was not a loyalty to abstractions. Abstractions means something which exists only as an idea. It was a loyalty to giving human beings. In everything Gandhi did, moreover, he tried to mold a new free Indian who could stand on his feet and thus make India free. So, in these lines, the narrator says that the Champaran Satyagraha was not an act of opposition. It was an attempt to help out the poor and tortured peasants. This was Gandhiji's way to solve the issues by means of non-violence, without fighting or without bloodshed, and his politics was knitted up with the everyday problems faced by the millions of people. And he did not aim at the fulfillment of ideas, and rather he was concerned for the people. The basic idea was to serve humanity and make a free Indian who could stand for his rights. So this was the main motto of Gandhiji, main aim of Gandhiji. Then further, the next paragraph says that early in the Champaran actions, Charles Freer Andrews, the English pacifist is a peacemaker, a person who believes in peace, who had become a devoted follower of Mahatma, came to bid Gandhiji farewell before going on a tour of duty to the Fiji Islands. And Gandhiji's lawyers' friends thought it would be a good idea for Andrews to stay in Champaran and help them. Andrews was willing if Gandhi agreed, but Gandhi was vehemently means in an intense manner, opposed. He said, "You think that in this unequal fight it would be helpful if we have an Englishman on our side? This shows the weakness of your heart. The cause is just and you must rely upon yourself to win the battle. You should not seek a prop in Mr. Andrews because he happens to be an Englishman." This was a very big thing that he said, and his words has great value. And he had read our minds correctly, Rajendra Prasad comments, and we had no reply. Gandhi in this way taught us a lesson in self-reliance. So this was the biggest lesson that he gave to the people of India, that they should fight their battle themselves without involving the outsider or a foreigner. Then last line says self-reliance, Indian independence and help to sharecroppers were all bound together. So in these lines, the word vehemently means in an intense manner, self-reliance means self-sufficiency or self-support, prop is support. So in these lines, the narrator says that Charles Freer Andrews, who was a peacemaker, visited Gandhiji before going on a tour of duty to the Fiji Islands. So he was a government official. So before, and he was a great admirer of Gandhiji. So before going on a tour of duty to Fiji Islands, he visited Gandhiji. And Gandhiji's lawyers' friends wanted Andrews to stay at the ashram and help them, but Gandhiji refused. And he said that they did not need any help of Britishers, as it showed a lack of trust in their own abilities. And the same thing is happening right now in these days of COVID-19. Then further he says that he asked them not to seek any help from Andrews, as he was an Englishman. And Rajendra Prasad later on stated that Gandhiji had read their thoughts and his replies served as a lesson of self-sufficiency for them. And Gandhiji wanted to teach everyone a lesson of self-reliance or self-support or self-belief, and he wanted to say that we should fight our own battle without involving any outsider and being self-dependent, free and helping the peasants. So, and all these acts of Gandhiji were interconnected. So this was the main message given by Gandhiji of self-reliance, which nowadays our great Prime Minister Modi ji is also giving to the whole country to be self-reliant, not to depend on the other countries. So this is all for today. Thank you and goodbye.